Welcome to Orange Coast Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Sian Wiltshire, and I am your worship associate for today. I am joined by Reverend Sian Wiltshire, our minister, Beth Syverson, our director of music ministries, is not here today, who is here is Karen Magoon Pearson, our director of religious education for children and youth. We would like to recognize the many volunteers that have helped put the service together today. They're up on the screen. We respectfully recognize that our church property rests on a Hachiman and Tongva land. I'd like to invite the Zoomers to open the chat box and say hello this morning. To our roomers, we invite you to silence your cell phones. As Unitarian Universalists, we have many different beliefs, but we are one loving community. We are bound together, not by a common set of rules or beliefs, but rather a covenant. A covenant is a promise that whatever our beliefs, we accept one another and encourage each other in spiritual growth. We affirm that all life has inherent value, that all existence is interconnected, and that all existence is interconnected. We strive for justice and compassion in our deeds and relationships, and we are committed to creating a welcoming community without regard to the traits that sometimes divide people. I want to extend a special welcome to visitors. If you are seeking a spiritual home, we hope you will find it here. Later in the service, we will have an opportunity for you to introduce yourself if you'd like to do so. Let our worship begin with the lighting of our chalice as we say our unison affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth and love, and to help one another. This we affirm together.
Good morning. Our opening song this morning is The Wheel of the Water, and we have a special treat for the children and young at heart. Each of our song leaders will sing with the video and do the motions for one of the parts, and you're invited to follow along with any or all of them. Please rise and embody your spirit, and let's get everybody moving.
The wheel of the water go round, and the wheel of the water go round. The wheel of the water go round, and the wheel of the water go round. The wheel of the water go round, and the wheel of the water go round. The wheel of the water go round, and the wheel of the water go round. The wheel of the water goes round, and the wheel of the water goes round. The wheel of the water goes round, and the wheel of the water goes round. The clouds rain down, and the wheel of the water goes round. The clouds rain down, and the wheel of the water goes round. The wheel of the water goes round. The wheel of the water goes round and round, and the wheel of the water goes round. The wheel of the water goes round and round, and the wheel of the water goes round. The wheel of the water goes round and round, and the wheel of the water goes round. The wheel of the water goes round and round, and the wheel of the water goes round. The wheel goes round and round, and the wheel of the water goes round. Clouds rain down,
Let's all take a collective deep breath. It's been a lot going on this week, whether you've been welcoming Ukrainian refugees, or you've been a refugee, or maybe you've been working on the pledge drive, right? You're working hard on that, organizing programs like our wonderful Seder that was last night, or maybe you came here for the rehearsal for today's service. All of these things are going on. Maybe it's just part of your daily lives. So let's take deep breath and come here into this space. In the words of my friend Marta, we pause this morning from the chaos of the world to reclaim the beauty within these walls that carry us through our week. We lift this community onto our shoulders with pride and grace-filled expectations for our children and our children's children.
Welcome to this circle where love and grace abound. We honor your journey and wherever you are bound. We will walk beside you, encourage you on your way. Celebrate your spirit and hold you as we pray. There is love for one like you. There is grace enough to see you through. And wherever you have walked, whatever path you choose, may you know there is love for one like you.
Oh, welcome.
Welcome to this circle where love and grace abound.
Love and grace
We
abound.
honor your journey, and wherever you are bound, we will walk beside you, encourage you on your way. Celebrate your spirit and hold you as we pray. There is love for one like you. There is grace enough
To see you through. And wherever you have walked, whatever path you choose,
may you know there is love for one like you. May you know there is love for one like you.
I can think of no better song to introduce our new member ceremony. Because there is room for one like you. There is enough love for one like you, as always. Normally during this time we have a story for our children, but I like to have the children here for this because kids, this is how our church grows and becomes something new every time we welcome new people in, and you're gonna get to make that decision when you get older too about whether or not you'd like to join the church. And I know it's been a couple of years since you were here, and this is your second week back. So I hope you'll take a moment to actually introduce yourself to our new members, and they can can introduce themselves to you as well. So this morning I'd like to invite up here Linda Sperry and Nina Smith, who are co-chairs of the membership committee, and Nancy Lockery is the president of the board of trustees.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Linda Sperry, co-chair of the membership committee, and my co-chair here is Nina Smith. This morning, we have the joy of helping visitors and friends of the congregation become new members of our community. Each of these adults have already joined the congregation formally, but today we want to honor these new members by introducing them to you, the congregation.
So before we invite them up here, I'd like to remind you all about what membership means. Membership is a way of loving this community. It is making a commitment to caring for the community. It is commitment to seeking truth. It is commitment to creating a better world. We are so grateful for all that our members do, all they contribute, and all that they are.
So let us introduce them to you now.
So we have 6 members joining today. I'd like to call Mafanwi and John Kaiser up to the front. And as they're heading up here, we have bios for each one of them. Mafanwi Kaiser retired after 50 years of teaching English and creative writing middle school through college in Kentucky and California. While in Kentucky, she also taught in a small men's prison. She moved to California after marrying and meeting John, not an inmate. It was love at first sight. Even though retired, she wasn't done with teaching. She teaches in a volunteer capacity at the Orange County Rescue Mission and leads the newly formed OC-UUC writing group.
So John, not an inmate, received both, this was Mafawi's comment, she wrote that line for us, received both his Master's of Science and doctorate at Stanford University. He taught engineering mechanics at Virginia Tech, and he worked for American Air Filter in Kentucky and transferred to Pulsco in California. John joined the Sierra Club and is a volunteer. He leads and participates in hikes and mule pack trips. John also participates in trail maintenance activities, repairing trails that are damaged, and also in mule pack trips, and removing graffiti from the boulders along the trails so that others may enjoy the outdoors. Both Mafawi and John, while attending the congregation on Victoria Street, help prepare meal boxes for delivery where needed.
Our next new member is Donna McCartney. Donna is a 5-year Unitarian Universalist and is switching her membership from the UU Fellowship of Laguna Beach. She is a 35-year elementary teacher and science specialist. She retired and moved from Pennsylvania to California in 2015 to be closer to her 11-year-old granddaughters. Her interests include leadership in ADK, which is an altruistic teacher organization, playing pickleball, which is all the rage these days, and participating in extreme sports such as skydiving.
Our next person is Matthew Patterson. Come on up, Matthew. Matthew is 38 years old and loves to take romantic walks through convention centers and theme parks with his husband, Alexander. He's originally from San Diego, but has lived in rural Mississippi, Utah, Virginia, Florida, and on a naval base near Tokyo. He returned to San Diego County in 2010 and lived there until late 2017 when he moved to Anaheim to work for Disney. Now he does data entry at AmeriCorps Financial and is looking at going back to school in education. He's been a Unitarian Universalist for several years and a practicing Norse pagan. Hobbies include photography, cosplay, computer games, World of Warcraft, and American Truck Simulator, and playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Next up is Gretel Wisnot. Gretel was born in Uruguay and moved to the States when she was 13. She worked as a nurse for Kaiser for 35 years and retired 6 years ago. Retirement did not turn out exactly as she wanted, but she is making the best of it. She has 2 daughters, 16 years apart. Her oldest daughter has 4 children, so Gretel has a granddaughter and 3 grandsons. Before she became ill, she played water polo with some mature ladies. She loves swimming and anything to do with water. She is certain she always has been a UU when at 6 years of age decided to not take communion. She identifies as a spiritual atheist and feels very comfortable and welcomed at OC UUC. Thank you. Oh, Craig, are you going to read Craig's?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We have one other one that Craig Preston, who's not here today, he had another obligation, but he was actually with us on Friday at the Costa Mesa Earth Day celebration. If you saw Facebook, you saw his picture there. Craig Preston resides in Costa Mesa, but was raised in Watsonville, California. He studied engineering at Cal Poly SLO, did mission work for 4 years at the University of Hawaii, and achieved an MBA from Cal State Fullerton. He joined the First UU Church of Los Angeles in May of 2019. His parents joined a UU congregation in 1960 in Augusta, Georgia. Craig is an accountant by day and an activist by night, he says. Currently, his work is in accounting and finance in the software industry in Anaheim. Craig volunteers as a CCL Citizens Climate Lobby California State Coordinator focused on conservation outreach. He has a deaf brother, likes to sing, and is out of town often on weekends. In his free time, he enjoys hiking, biking, and beach volleyball. Is that it? Okay.
Each time we invite new people into the life of our church, we become something new. As new members add their gifts and talents, we grow and are nurtured. On behalf of the congregation, I'd like to welcome each of you to our community. We look forward to getting to know you.
So let us covenant with one another. We are a covenantal faith. These are the promises that we make to one another. Don't worry, it doesn't involve any children or anything like that you have to give us. But so this is basically what it says, that we are grateful that you have chosen this community of faith. So will you accept our gifts of compassion, curiosity, and service? Will you offer us your presence and your gifts? Will you join us in building a community dedicated to love and justice? If so, we ask you to say, I will. I will. Awesome. And congregation, will you welcome these new members, roomers and zoomers? Will you welcome these new members with your acceptance and warmth? Will you encourage these persons as they seek to find their place in this community? Will you honor them as equal partners in the building of this beloved community? If so, we ask you to say, I will, or type it in the chat. I will. All right. They can also say this now. That's right, we can say this now because we didn't have this before when we were online.
Yes.
So we welcome and accept you as the newest members of our congregation. That wasn't up there. Or to our sharing gifts of this beloved community with you, discovering the gifts you bring. May you flow together in the love that guides us.
Now I do it. Let us join in affirming the covenant of this church, the promise that we make each week to ourselves and each other, which holds our community together with common purpose and common love in the midst of our diversity of belief and understanding. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law.
to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. This we affirm together. All right, let's welcome our new members. You may be seated. I'd also like to invite Karen Magoon-Pearson back up here. She is our Director of Religious Education, and we're going to sing the kids out as she lights also the chalice from our flame to their flame as they go. The church half empties out when the kids leave. It's so awesome, though, isn't it? Having the kids back. We love having the kids here. All right. Well, this morning we are celebrating not only our new members, but this amazing earth on which we live. So our first reading this morning is going to help us beginning the honoring of Earth Day. It's by Denise Levertov. We live our lives of human passions, cruelties, dreams, concepts, crimes, and the exercise of virtue in and beside a world devoid of our preoccupations, free from apprehension, though affected certainly by our actions, a world parallel to our own, though overlapping. We call this other world nature, only reluctantly admitting to ourselves to be nature too. Whenever we lose track of our own obsessions, our self-concerns, because we drift for a minute or an hour even, of pure, almost pure response to that insouciant life. It's a cloud, a bird, a fox, the flow of light, the dancing pilgrimage of water, vast stillness of spellbound ephemerae on a lit window pane, animal voices, mineral hum, wind conversing with rain, ocean with rock, stuttering of fire to coal, then something that was tethered in us, hobbled like a donkey on its patch of gnawed grass and thistles, something tethered in us breaks free. No one discovers just where we've been when we're caught up again into our own sphere, where we must return indeed to evolve our own destinies. But we have changed a little. So this morning, as part of our sort of meditation and sharing, I'd like you to take some deep breaths with me. Go into that posture of meditation that is comfortable for you. I want to invite you to recall a favorite place in nature for you. Walking in the park, down at the beach, up in the mountains, the sunset, the rolling waves, a flower first blooming in spring. Those moments that break our tether. And why is it your favorite place? When you are there, what changes inside of you, if even just a little? And when you feel comfortable doing so, I invite you to turn to a neighbor and share your favorite place and why. For those of you online, our Zoomers, you're invited to write it in the chat. Please begin as you feel comfortable. Do you have a favorite place?
Not in nature.
Not in nature?
No, I like being in my room.
Yeah.
I'm alone and people usually won't disturb me. Very
introvert myself, believe it or not.
I don't.
But I am. Actually, I'm usually exhausted after services. But yeah, no, my favorite place is to be alone in nature. I like being up in the mountains in particular. That's right. Mount Rainier is one of my favorite places in the world. We love to talk about our favorite places, don't we? Absolutely. Just so you know, on the chat, Benjamin says that Crystal Cove is one of his favorite places. Clover and Paul named Camp DeVenneville Pines, which is our Unitarian Universalist camp up in the mountains. Ava and Cosme say walking along the edge of Back Bay. Oh, me too. I love that walk there. And Phyllis, she says Montana de Oro Beach near San Luis Obispo. She says, I'm looking at a photograph taken by my late husband. Randy says the garden. Awesome. Paula says Yellowstone, the wildlife. Claudia says Victoria Beach. Linda C. says, a pool of dark water with watercress and tadpoles that I discovered when I was about 5, because it is tranquil and beyond beautiful. It is my meditation place. Oh yeah, I have those places that you can go into in meditation. Melody says, to break the tether really brought a visual home. Yeah, doesn't it? Ashley says Newport Beach because of the sounds, the happy memories of being a carefree child, the smell of sea salt water, and the constant energy of the tide. Yeah, that motion of the tide that comes in and out. Barbara S. says Tennessee Valley in Marin County, less than an hour walk and you're at the ocean. And Linda K. says Yosemite. It was one of my dad's favorite places. All right, well, let us sing.
Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I hear your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears.
So this is a picture of my father. He was a mountain climber, and he always, I have like, just about every picture I have of my father is him on top of a mountain with a vista behind him, right? Like, this is absolutely what I think of when I think of my father. Now, my father was a complete atheist. He did not believe in God at all, but he believed in nature. He was his truest and best self when he was in the mountains, either climbing one or just hiking around. He wrote essays. He did everything he could to figure out how to preserve it. He wrote essays for the environment. And this was back, in the 70s and 80s before it was as much of a big thing. He marched. He picked up any trash on the path. If there was any trash, he would pick it up. He did everything he could to preserve his beloved mountains. I remember sort of a cute story when I was in my 20s. I remember, when you get your first house, even though it's a bunch of roommates and you're renting a house and you get your first room, you want to show it off to your parents. Maybe some of you had this experience. And I just remember my father, the first thing he did when he came into my room, my little bedroom, is he went over to the window and he scrunched up to the side of it, looked out straight, and he said, "You can see the top of Mount Rainier from here." I remember just sort of rolling my eyes like, that's so my dad. It's got to have a vista. Anything, he's got to have a vista. But honestly, I never really understood my father's fascination with nature and his love of it. I mean, it was pretty. I could definitely understand that, but I didn't connect with it like he did. Until I was about 28 years old. I was in graduate school studying archaeology, as many of you have heard me talk about. I had earned a Fulbright scholarship to study in Greece that fall, and in order to earn some spending money, a friend hooked me up with working at a remote fishing village in Alaska. I was deeply unhappy with my life, but I didn't understand why. I mean, I've got everything I could possibly want. My career's going well. I got a Fulbright. Everything's great. I had all these good things going for me. Now, here's the thing. If you didn't know this about Alaska, I think of it as one of the last truly magical places on Earth. If you get a chance to go there, do so. There is so much beauty and space and wildness and openness and healing that is there. I began when I was there that summer to recognize how miserable I was, and that this wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. As much as I loved it, it wasn't what I wanted to do. And I felt disconnected with who I was. That summer, that magic of Alaska gave me the strength and self-compassion and wisdom to make a big change, and I left graduate school. Now, I was really lucky. I didn't get to have to spend just a moment or even an hour. I got 3 months literally out in the middle of nowhere. The only way you can get there is by float plane or boat. That's how powerful spending time in nature can be. It's a little dangerous because you might actually change. And I think that's part of the problem that we have nowadays, what Levertov said. She said, we live our lives of human passions, cruelties, dreams, concepts, crimes, and the exercise of virtue as if we are apart from nature, not a part of it. I think we need to make more space for in time in nature, even if we drift for just a moment or even an hour, in whatever form of nature are around us. To take deep breaths and not just to appreciate, but to really feel ourselves connect to the nature around us, like hopefully you just did in your memory. Now, one of the things that nature reminds us is that Earth will be here long after we are all gone. Now, some might find that depressing. I actually find it hopeful. Life goes on in whatever form it is. But I will admit, I prefer a future with humanity in it. I think we all do, right? In order to do what we do, we need to change our mindset, I think, how we view the world. And Floyd Westerman of the Dakota Sioux tribe, he relates that the Hopi Indians of Arizona have an idea about how we must see this world, how we have to change our mindset in order to survive what is to come.
Time evolves and comes to a place where it renews again. There is first a purification time, then there's renewal time. We are getting very close to this time now. We were told that we would see America come and go. And in a sense, America is dying from within, because they forgot the instructions on how to live on earth. Everything is coming to a time where prophecy and man's inability to live on earth in a spiritual way will come to a crossroad of great problems. It's the Hopi belief, it's our belief that if you're not spiritually connected to the earth and understand the spiritual reality of how to live on earth, it's likely you will not make it. When Columbus came, that began what we term as the First World War. That was the true First World War when Columbus arrived. Because along with him came everybody from Europe. By the end of the Second World War, we were, in America, we were only 800,000. From 60 million to 800,000. So we were almost exterminated here in America. Everything is spiritual. Everything has a spirit. Everything Everything was brought to you by the Creator, the one Creator. Some people call him God, some people call him Buddha, some people call him Allah, some people call him other names. We call him Tonkashila, grandfather. We're here on Earth only a few winters. Then we go to the spirit world. The spirit world is more real than most of us believe. The spirit world is everything. Over 95% of our body is water. And in order to stay healthy, you got to drink good water. When the European first came here, Columbus, we could drink out of any river. If the Europeans had lived the Indian way when they came, we'd still be drinking out of water because water is sacred. The air is sacred. Our DNA is made of the same DNA as the tree. The tree breathes what we exhale. When the tree exhales, we need what the tree exhales. So we have a common destiny with the tree. We are all from the earth. And when the earth, the water, the atmosphere is corrupted, then it will create its own reaction. Mother is reacting. In the Hopi prophecy, they say the storms and floods will become greater. To me, it's not a negative thing to know that there will be great changes. It's not negative. It's evolution. When you look at it as evolution, it's time. Nothing stays the same. You should learn how to plant something. That's the first connection. You should treat all things as spirit. Realize that we are one family.
So again, I invite you to take a deep breath. I ask you a tougher question that you don't necessarily have to share. What do you think it will take for us to realize that we are one family, that we're all connected? Take some deep breaths, soften your eyes if you like, and contemplate his words and that question. What do you think it's going to take for us to realize we are one family, all connected? When you're ready, please join Susan and Amy in singing.
Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I hear your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears.
So what will it take for us to change, right? I like Linda C. said in the chat, a miracle. How many else was thinking that? Yeah. I think what it's going to take is a different mindset, a different way that we look at the world, rather than seeing ourselves as apart from it, but see ourselves as a part of it. The Hopi prophecy, according to Westerman, says that if you're not spiritually connected to the earth and understand the spiritual reality of how to live on earth, it's likely you're not going to make it. So how do we do that? If that's true, how do we do that? How do we live spiritually connected to the earth? Does it mean we go back to living in huts? We all farm our own food, no more grocery stores or outlets or anything. We don't travel, we don't use cars. I'm not sure it has to. I don't think that's what Westerman is saying. For me, what Westerman is talking about when he says to live spiritually, he's talking about connection. This is how I've always defined spirituality. It's about having a connection, right? Something greater than yourself. Now that might be God, it might be the earth and nature, it might be a community, it might be your family, something that pulls you out of yourself to see yourself as part of a greater whole. Being spiritual doesn't mean you sit on a cushion going Om Mani Padme Hum, unless that's, your thing. That's cool. But it's about really feeling connection to everything around you. I'll give you an example. Many people have felt called to help the Ukrainian refugees because they feel a connection to their fellow human beings, right? That's what makes them want to take care of it. They feel a connection. And it hasn't just been here at this church. People are coming. I'm getting text, phone calls, emails from people, friends of friends of friends, saying, I hear you're doing this. Yesterday, a friend of Bonnie, one of our congregants, she called herself Grandma Joy. She came on the campus here, and she said, I just was stopping by, and her eyes were filled with tears. She said, I want to do something, and I know she's on a limited income, I could tell. She just hands me a little cash, and he says, could you give this to the refugees? She's not a part of this church. She just feels a connection, right? That's why most of us help that which is in need, whether it's the earth or it's other people. When we feel connected, we want to help, right? And that connection, by the way, is another word for love. There's this reporter named Dahar Jamel. I've got his book up here. It's called The End of Ice. And in it, toward the end, he said this. He said, the single biggest thing I learned was from an indigenous elder of Cherokee descent, Stan Rushworth, who reminded me of the difference between a Western settler mindset of, I have rights, and an indigenous mindset of, I have obligations. Instead of thinking that I am born with rights, I choose to think that I am born with obligations to serve the past, present, and future generations and the planet herself. When we feel that sense of connection, when we also then feel a sense of obligation, we've got to do something, like Grandma Joy, like all the people that are helping out with Ukrainians. We feel this, I've got to do something, right? That's that connection. And obligation in this way, when connected spiritually, is about living with honor and integrity to live up to our obligations. It's no longer just about what I want, just me, right? But about something greater, whether that's a refugee or the earth. So if we could live connected to the earth, what then might it look like? Well, Wendell Berry has a prophecy of his own to offer us. Should we listen?
If we will have the wisdom to survive, to stand like slow-growing trees on a ruined place, renewing and enriching it, if we will make our seasons welcome here, asking not too much of earth or heaven, then a long time after we are dead, the lives our lives prepare will live there, their houses strongly placed upon the valley sides, fields and gardens rich in the windows. The river will run clear, as we will never know it, and over it bird song like a canopy. On the levels of the hills will be green meadows, stock bells at noon shade. On the steeps where greed and ignorance cut down the old forest, an old forest will stand, its rich leaf fall drifting on its roots. The veins of forgotten springs will have opened. Families will be singing in the fields. In their voices, they will hear a music risen out of the ground. They will take nothing from the ground they will not return, whatever the grief at parting. Memory, native to this valley, will spread over it like a grove, and memory will grow into legend, legend into song, song into sacrament. The abundance of this place, the song of its people and its birds, will be health and wisdom and indwelling light. This is no paradisal dream. Its hardship is its possibility.
So again, what do you think it will take to live up to a bucolic vision like that? What will we need to give up? But what will we gain? Take some deep breaths and consider that as we sing.
Ancient Mother, I hear you calling. Ancient Mother, I hear your song. Ancient Mother, I hear your laughter. Ancient Mother, I taste your tears.
Its hardship is its possibility. Yeah. You know, there's no doubt that we're experiencing global warming around the world. It's not a matter of stopping it now, it's a matter of mitigating, right? And the only way I can think of to do this, we've got to change our minds. We've got to change the way we see the earth and the world around us. We need to connect, like you did this morning, and it needs to be intentional. You know, when I first moved here to Orange County, I have to admit I really struggled with being here at first because it feels like a concrete jungle, right? I'm used to Seattle. It's called the Emerald City for a reason. Lots of trees and greenery and mountains just, minutes away. And yeah, and I remember I was really struggling with a lot of this, just feeling disconnected. When a couple of years I went up to Morro Bay on vacation because some of you had recommended it to me. And as you drive past Santa Barbara, you take a right up the 154 up there, and I literally hit this patch of green that was just like, it hit my soul, and I had to literally pull over and drink it in. I had not realized how malnourished I had felt until then. So it's like, how do I bring more of this into my life, right? I need this in my life. So I moved to this new apartment, and I had this patch of greenery out my door, or not a greenery, it's just brown. It was just dirt by my door. And so now I went there and I planted, I have all these pots and trees and succulents and ground covering and everything, and I love it. Every single time I walk out my door and back, I'm like, oh, my little own patch of green. It's wonderful. Of course, you can take walks in the back bay, all sorts of things that we do. But I hope that you will find time to bring nature in your life. What is it Westerman said? Plant something. Just plant something. And I know many of you already do. Because I think when we connect with nature, we create a new vision for the world, one that gives us a sense of obligation to take care of it. It's that mindset, right? It's a change in our minds in the way that we do things. And I think that it's also a little bit like when we ask people to become members of the church, right? It's a mindset change. As one of my colleagues put it, he says, you take off the bib and you put on an apron, right? You're not here just to be fed. That's part of it. You will wear the bib at times. But you're also there to help take care of things, right? That this is partly your church, your earth, everything. It's your church now. And it's the same with the earth. We need to take off the bib and put on the apron. It's time we take a sense of obligation to it and to the future generations. And it's all hands on deck time, people. Just like our Ukrainian refugees, right? Sent out that email. It's all hands on deck, people. We need ya. Because we cannot change our mindset and learn to take care of the earth rather than just let her feed us. We need to be able to take care of her too. Because we're going to go through that upheaval and evolution that Westerman speaks of, but I want everyone here to survive it. And your generations, your children and your children's children. So let's prove that we have actually a mind that we can change by opening it up, right? And changing it. By watching it open to a new way of seeing the world, one that takes off the bib and puts on the apron. So let us sing.
Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home.
I give thanks to the waves upholding me. Hail the great winds urging me on. Greet the infinite sea before me. Sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Unitarian Universalist congregations are fully self-supporting, meaning that members and friends raise all funds for the operating budget, ministries, and programs of the church. We are ever grateful for your gifts of time, treasure, and talent. OCUC amplifies that spirit of generosity by sharing one half of the plate we receive with an organization that shares our values. This month, we are sharing with a community action partnership. There are multiple ways in which you can support the church and this organization. You can mail a check, you can go through our website, use an app called Venco Mobile. The choice is yours. All the information is on our website should you need it. As always, thank you for your generosity.
Please join in singing We Gather Together, a song that puts our intentions into words and expresses our gratitude for the many gifts we share.
Together we gather as one, for peace, love, and justice for everyone. We give from our hearts to show that we care. We can change lives with what we share.
So now is that time when we honor the important events and people in our lives, and you are welcome, one and all, roomers and zoomers, friends, visitors, members, to participate in this weekly ritual we call Joys and Sorrows. I'd like to invite Marilyn Giss, who's one of our pastoral care team members and also your congregational nurse. So let's take a deep breath. If you would like to honor something that has struck you at your core, the deepest of your heart in the last days, weeks, or even hours, you are invited to do so. If you're a roomer, you can come forward and light a candle, and if you would like to share it with the congregation, you can write it down on a slip of paper that the ushers have here for you if you haven't done so already. And if you're a Zoomer, you can write your joy or sorrow in the chat, and then when we're done lighting the candles here, we'll read them out loud as Marilyn will light a candle for you. So as music is played, I invite you to silently offer a healing or celebration as you feel called and according to your own beliefs. Please come forward. Got a lot today. Let's see here. All right. In the chat, let's see here. Valerie K says, please light a candle for my friend Annette, who's going through a challenging passage. Thank you. Benjamin W. Would like a candle lit of joy for their first Unitarian Universalist Seder last night. So that went really well. Yes. And Kathy N. says that she would like a candle lit of joy of being able to bring supplies to the refugees this week. And it feels good to be able to do something. Barbara S. says, please light a welcome candle for my newest great nephew, Theo, born yesterday at 3:45 p.m. All are doing well. Congratulations. Great nephew. I love it. Karen K., who is the former membership chair, she says, joy for our new members, and big shout out to hardworking Linda S. and Nina S. for co-chairing the membership committee and doing a fantastic job. Sarah Jones, she's our minister. She says she has a joy. I had the honor and pleasure of volunteering at a dinner dance for disabled adults Friday night, served over 100 plates of lasagna. Hard work, but it felt really great and wonderful to see the guests having a great time. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. So Ava Lou and Cosme. Ava Lou writes that Cosme leaves this Thursday for an indefinite amount of time, maybe 6 months, to divide the estate of his parents and his brother. It's not a very harmonious situation. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, dear no. Let's see here. And then Linda K. says it was a joy attending the Costa Mesa Earth Day event, and our climate reality table was right next to the OCU-UC Wild and Scenic table. Lots attended, and I'm grateful for all those wonderful conversations to support Earth and the environment. That's right. Boy, there's so much going on this weekend. Oh, my goodness. And Linda C., please light a candle of hope for democracy in America and throughout the world. Amen to that. All right, and then we have, for people in here who lit candles, we've got a little bonfire going over there, I think, so many candles. So Mifanwe, our new member, Mifanwe has lit a candle of joy. She said, John and I are going to be official today. And Marilyn F., she says she has a candle of joy. She says for the outstanding auction dinner last night hosted by the Martins, it was a murder by chocolate mystery dinner. And much fun was had by all. See Tom for a really cool picture of the president of this congregation, okay? Dressed up. I just want to show you. It's cool. All right. And Elizabeth Kilshore, she has a joy. Oh, I love it. For the first time in 2 years, we had in-person open house at my school. I had 100% of my families attend, plus some former students. It was great to see all the families and feel the school community once again. Oh, isn't that nice? Yeah. Meg W., she has a joy. She said, on April 21st, my daughter, Nika, celebrated her 11th year of sobriety. Yay, blessed be. And Peggy Hepler lit a candle of hope that Macron will be elected in France. Yeah. And Tracy, she has a joy to be able to get to know our friends that are staying with us, the Ukrainian refugees. It's been a joy getting to know them. And I just also want a little shout out to Tracy and Nancy, who drove down late on Friday night to pick them up. They didn't get back here till about 10:30. It's 2 hours down there and 2 hours back. They did an amazing job. And Elaine Rashenko Diorio, who, as you know, is Ukrainian, one of our members, she says she would like a candle of that today is Orthodox Easter Sunday, and she says, I pray for the safety to those in harm's way and a quick end to this war. We all do, yeah. Patrick Bowie lit a candle of anxiety. He says that he is testifying in a federal court lawsuit hearing tomorrow afternoon in Santa Ana. We hope that goes well and smoothly, Patrick. Simone Bentley has actually 3 here. There's one right after the other. She says, first is a joy. She said, my youngest son, Paul, who's 48, came to visit with us with his little boy, Sebi. I think it's Sebi or Sebi? Sebi. Sebi. They live in England, and it was, and during the heat wave, Sebi never wanted to leave the beach. I don't blame you. But she also lights a candle of sorrow because I'm assuming that her son Paul's, one of the reasons why they're here is that son Paul's best childhood friend, also named Paul, he died in a ski accident last month. Paul is at the memorial service in Santa Barbara this weekend. And she also has a sorrow for her daughter-in-law, Giva, who lives in Portland. Gina, is it Gina? Gina, who lives in Portland. She lost her father recently at 87 in Bellingham. Her two granddaughters, 8 and 6, have been very affected by this. Please hold them in your heart. And Sue Q has a candle of hope. She said the Ukrainian refugees are warmly welcomed to our church by our minister, board president, and the many volunteers who made their stay with us possible. I'm sorry that they are refugees. Yeah, we hope we can get them a home here really soon. They'll be with us for a short time. Whew. So much going on. So let us hold in love all the joys and celebrations and all the hurts and sadness, whether they were spoken or remain silent in our hearts. Let our joys remind us to be thankful, our concerns remind us to hope, and our sorrows remind us to connect. Let all these moments remind us that we are not alone. Please join Marilyn in a spirit of prayer.
I got it off without taking my hearing aid falling off. This is the Earth's Prayer, a 21st century complement to the Lord's Prayer, and the author is unknown. Our Mother, who is here on earth, timeless may you reign, and may we never take your compassion for granted. The time is now, your spirit be served with our full intention and energy to create a planet Earth as abundant and blessed as heaven. Give each person today their daily grain so no one goes hungry, and affirm our inherent goodness to care for one another. As we give thanks for those who today in their actions put the collective good ahead of personal self-interest and remind us to do the same. And inspire us in all things to maximize our potential for the greatest good, and we preserve and protect the legacy we leave for future generations. For this is our planet with problems and possibilities to do with what we can in the time we have got. Now as forever, peace, amen.
Let us join together as we extinguish the flame of our chalice and say, we extinguish our chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you for joining us this morning. We are a congregation made up of people who all believe differently. And yet, when we gather together, whether we are in the room or on Zoom, we make up one loving community. We need not think alike to love alike. If you are a guest, a visitor, or someone who hasn't yet been known to us, I invite you to become part of this beloved community. We encourage you to either write in the chat if you are a Zoomer, or if you are a roomer, to stand for a brief moment and tell us your name and where you are from. If you'd like to know more about our church, including programming for our youth and children, please contact us at hello@ocuc.org and we'll help you get connected. In addition, we invite you to sign up for our weekly email called The Blast at blast@ocuc.org. We want everyone to feel a part of this beloved community, so please reach out and we will help you get connected.
Right, we're running a little bit long today, so I'm just going to tell you 2 things on announcements, 2 things to be aware of. 1, you've all got your pledge in, right? Right? Yep. Okay, if you haven't, see this wonderful woman back here in blue and orange? That's the woman you need to talk to. Please get your pledge in. It needs you. The other thing is, of course, Ukrainian refugees, all hands on deck. We've got a sign-up sheet. We need people to be here on site. It's so simple. You hang out in the youth room, but we're required by our insurance to have someone here on site. So if you can sign up, please do so. We have the overnights covered. We just need some people during the day to hang out for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, however long you can do it. It's only through probably Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, because most of them will be flying out. We hope by then, unless we get some more this evening, which is a possibility. The other thing is, if you are able to drive the 2 children that we have here, one is 4 and one is 12, to Tatiana's birthday party for her son that's this afternoon at 3, please see Tatiana. She would love to talk to you if you're able to do that. So again, what are the 2 things? There you go. Pledge, drive, and sign up. Thank you. Those are the 2 things that you need to remember. All right, let us sing our benediction.
Let us go out and all do our part. Let us go out with joy to each heart. Let us go out with indifference destroy. Let us go out with joy. Let us go out and all do our part. Let us go out.
Announcement I forgot to mention, because we always have cake for new members, but Peggy and Linda have created special Ukrainian apple cake for us today. So come join and enjoy.